Shalom Aleichem. It's Pesach Sheni for both of us, actually, which is a Kiddush that you just began and I'm in the middle of it. And it's one of those days that just kind of just the only remez to it is that you don't say Tachnun, nothing more than that. But there's a lot of, obviously, it's a mitzvah doiraisa. So I'll just read you what it says in the Chinuch. First, it's in Parshas Baloischa, which we know is the Torah that our whole organization is based on. Yeah, Bnei Aliyah is based on that Torah from Aaron lighting the menorah and putting aside his Avinir and just doing the mitzvah for the Shem mitzvah, which is the highest madrega, the level of the Bnei Aliyah, which is what we've come to in this generation, the ability to serve Shem absolutely lishma, Zvat Hashem. So it's in that parsha, which is an important thing in the first place. I'm just going to read you just the first paragraph that he writes in the Chinuch. Okay, it's mitzvah Shin Pei 380. Mitzvah's Pesach Sheni ba'arba asa be'iyah. She'asa Pesach Sheni ba'arba asa be'iyah. Make the Pesach Sheni on the 14th of Iyah. Kol mi shelo yachol asa is Pesach Rishon. Everybody who wasn't able to make Pesach Rishon. Yeah, ba'arba asa be'Nisan. On the 14th of Nisan, Kagoin. Mechamas Tuma or Shahaya B'derech Choika, that he was Betuma or he was far away. Yeah, but either way, he was oines. He couldn't make it because of something out of his control. He became Tame, or he happened to be far away. Do it. Okay, but Oid, Harun is the Chazal taught us. The love dafka tuma v'richoy gedech levad is love dafka just that he was tamei or that he was far, he was in a distant place. Elakosha shogag, any if he was shogag or nenas or afilu hazid, he didn't make it bedafka. V'loy hikri berishon makri b'sheni. He wasn't hikri berishon in the first place. He was makri. He should be makri b'sheni. Okay, so the first thing I have to explain here is that he says Pesach Rishon here, but we don't ever refer to Pesach as Pesach Rishon. It's only in context just by his explaining what's going on here. He calls it Pesach Rishon just to not get confused. Pesach Rishon is not called Pesach Rishon, it's called Pesach. Okay? And then there's Pesach Sheni. Now, you guys understand the difference between you do. Do you know what it means cardinal and ordinal numbers? Cardinal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ordinal is first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Ordinal from Russian order, meaning it's in order. So first, second, third. Okay, so we've got a very interesting thing in Ma'aser Bereshis. It says Yom Echad and then Yom Sheni. And they asked the Ramban Kodesh asked a lot of Mephoshim asked, and the Ramban gives an answer. Why is it Yom Echad? Why doesn't it call it Yom Rishon if it's Yom Sheni, or call it Yom Echad, then call it Yom Shtayim? Yeah. So he says the Inyan is that because when Hashem created Yom Rishon, there wasn't a Yom Shtayim. So just like the First World War, when it was taking place, was called the Great War, because you can't call it the First World War because there wasn't a second one yet. It was called the Great War. Then once the Second World War broke out, that was called the Second World War, and the First World War became the First World War retroactively. But because the perspective was from the actual Ma'aser Bereshis, there wasn't a Yom Sheni, so it's called Yom Echad. That's what the Ramban says. We've got a similar thing that happens in Sefer Tanya. In the first parak of Sefer Tanya, when the Rebbe introduces the human soul, don't forget the Sefer Tanya is called the Sefer Beinonim. Yeah, it's for regular Yidden. So when he introduces the first soul of the Yid, yeah, the Nefesh Bahamas, so he doesn't even call it that way. He calls it the Nefesh Chiyunis. One second. Yeah, Nefesh Achas Mitzad Klip V'Sitru Achra. He doesn't even call it anything, but he calls it Nefesh Achas. Yeah, which is Echad, just the I think actually Echad's masculine, Achas is feminine. Yeah, Nefesh Achas means one. It's not ordinal, it's cardinal. Yeah. Then in the second parak of Tanya, He calls it nefesh hashenis. Again, he changes back to ordinal, just like in Ma'aseh Bereshis. There was Yom Echad, Yom Sheni. There's nefesh achas and nefesh hashenis. Same thing. And it's a Moiridic insight into Sefer Tanya. Why? Because the perspective of the Beinoni, he says, Neshama shenasata bi tohirehi. The neshama that you put inside me is tahor. So wait, so who's the me? You put what? I'm not the neshama. You put the neshama in me. He asks that much later in the Sefer, because the perspective of the Beinoni is from his physical eyes. The perspective of the regular Yid is he is a human being who has a neshama, whereas the tzaddikim, they're neshamas that schlep along with them a goof. Yeah, but we're primarily, the way we see the world, a regular Jew sees the world through the eyes of his flesh, and he has a neshama. That's the perspective. That's not the reality. That's just the perspective. So the Rebbe was merames to that in the same way that Hashem was merames in Ma'aseh Bereshis to the perspective was from the first day of creation, which was called Yom Echad, and therefore the second day was Yom Sheni. Just two here. The neshama was the first neshama, the first nefesh, which is our default perspective on reality, is called nefesh achas, and the second soul is called the second soul because it's secondary, it's next, it's after, it's not primary to us. Although that's not really reality, that's just our perspective. Everyone's with me? Pretty posh, yeah. So now, why is it called Pesach Sheni? We've got Pesach and Pesach Sheni. Why not call it Pesach Katan, like Purim Katan, or Yom Kippur Katan? We call it Pesach Sheni. It's Moedik. So the Pashup Pshat, well, first the Pashup Pshat, and then we'll add what Chazal say. The basic halacha, it says in the Chumash, is if you're Tameh or if you're Rochoik, then by Pesach Rishon, then you get the chance of Tashlumin to make it up by Pesach Sheni. If you're Tameh or you're Rochoik. I mean, this is the whole point, is that anything other than avodas Hashem to the Yid is what's called a Tevesh Sheni. That's not who you are. That's the message. From calling it Pesach Sheni means that Tuma, see, the Goyim say it the exact opposite way. Yeah? The Noitzrim say that there was the original hate, and we're all Pasha, we're Bechinas Tameh, we're all Tameh, and now we need to be redeemed. Yeah, we say the exact opposite. We're mamash tachor, mamash, and the shamash nasata be tohirehi. We're mamash tachor. That's who we are. That's what Am Yisrael is. It's an Am Kadosh. Any kind of tumah or richuk from the Rebbeinu Shalom is something else, something on top of who we are. We're not trying to become something. We're trying to get back to who we are. Meaning we never stopped being who we are. Just some klipa got laid on top of us. That's a very comforting thought. That makes the whole process much more available, much more accessible. So you say, Hashem also says, Hashem echad v'ein sheni. There is no other. I'm echad v'ein sheni. So by Pesach Sheni, the avoida is to remember, one of the avoiders is to remember that who you really are is mamash how you got created, and anything that we're doing that isn't in line with that is something secondary and additional to who we are. Not that we're trying to become something new. It's we are perfect, and that's the union of bris milah. Bris milah is the removal of the orla, which is something added to the yid. Adam Rishon was born nimul, and then Chazal add in, and this is the most important part. is the love to have a tumor vericho derech levad. Elokol shagaga or nearness or filu hazed. Even when we do something intentionally, for sure, when something happens, shoygeg, or you've got no oines, you've got no ability to change it. But even when we do something mazid, dafka, that isn't who we are. It's like, how comfortable would you feel? Lahavdil, this is the exact opposite way around. How comfortable would you feel going to one of these Arabs in Dubai who own like a tiger? Like they've got tigers in their houses and stuff like that. Yeah, like you know that whatever at the end of the day, that creature could, there's countless stories of these creatures just like reverting back to what they were and destroying their owners. Because there's what's called Teva Rishon, there's what's called your Teva, and then what's called Teva Sheni. It's the exact same Inyan. It's not called Teva Rishon, it's called your Teva. This is your Teva, and a Teva Sheni is something that you add on to your nature. But the nature never goes away. So that tiger is a killer. Just he's acting docile. So forget it by us. We're mamash tzaddikim. Kulam tzaddikim. We're mamash tzaddikim. And anything that we're doing that's not in line with that is called a teva sheni. And as such, a teva sheni, just like the tiger can revert back at any moment, yeah. So too we're able to access back to who we genuinely are at any moment, B'ezrat Hashem. I think that's one of the biggest messages of Pesach Sheni. And it ties in with Lag BaOmer, but we'll talk about that another time. But that I just wanted to go over that message. Should be Zoicha, B'ezrat Hashem, to appreciate who we really are and know that anything we're doing that's not in line with that is something very Hetzoni to us. And as such, it can fall away very easily, B'ezrat Hashem. Okay.
Beautiful shkoyach.
Yom Tov.